Welcome to IT's role in retention, the power of data and automation. We've got to start with a really critical question that not a lot of people really ask themselves in this industry, which is why retention? Why are we spending so much time thinking about retention, wondering about it, and trying to go deeper than a lot of companies have in the past in terms of how they think about retention, how they go about it, how they define it, how they measure it, and so on. And we want to spend this time because when we finally get there and we dig in and we do the math, we find that retention really is the holy grail of our industry. It is tied to our reputation. It is tied to our stability as a business. It is tied to our profitability. It is tied to the value that we bring to the marketplace and that the marketplace hopefully gives us back. And so retention is a really critical thing. And because it basically operates on all of these key metrics that all of you guys out there are trying to hit for your company. The net active people every month, your lifetime value, your continuous ordering, new revenue, enrollments, creating leaders, rank advancement, right? If the bottom is constantly falling out of somebody's team, it gets really hard to hit a rank because by the time they get the structure set up, a bunch of other people are already gone. And they set it up and a bunch of other people are gone. And you can imagine how emotionally tough it is in an already tough business to get to a rank that's already so few people get to when that bottom is already falling out. And the inverse is also true, right? This is why it's so valuable that when the bottom isn't falling out and that one extra person that was going to leave can then stay and then recruit those couple of other people, the network effects, which is part of the beauty of this whole direct selling and multi-level marketing model, can really accelerate and start to take over and really compound revenue over time. And that's why, if you do the math, you'll find every 1% increase in monthly retention, if you can hold it for 12 months, will give you about a 5% lift in your first year and could do even more after that. So we know now that a lot of companies went through some significant growth last year due to the circumstances in the marketplace. And we also know that a lot of them are now starting to see these dips. This is not uncommon. It's in fact so common in direct selling that we have a term for it. It's called pop and drop. Whenever you see a recruiting boom, you will generally also see churn start to rise. And if that churn cannot be brought under control, or if it wasn't brought under control in the first place, when that recruiting boom eventually wanes, there will be a sharp gravity trying to pull the business back down again. And sometimes it can go even lower than it was at the beginning of the boom. So it's something we've really got to be careful about. And it's really, preventative medicine makes a big difference with this kind of thing. An ounce of prevention really is a pound of cure. So you might want to be asking yourself, what does retention mean to you? How do you measure it? How do you know it's happening? What are the key metrics that you're tracking to know that retention is something that you really do care about because you're tracking it? Because you can't measure it, if you can't manage it, you can't measure it. And who owns it? Is there someone actually responsible for, bonused on, compensated on in some way retention? And who are those people? That's the conversation for today. And we're going to move into the IT side of it with my friend and veteran industry CIO, Gareth Hooper. Welcome, Gareth.
Good morning, or should I say afternoon?
Depends on what part of the world you're in, I suppose.
Sorry?
Depends on what part of the world you're in, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on. I'm thrilled to be here.
So Gareth, you're 20 years in direct selling. You've worked at numerous of the top 100, really kind of helping them scale during some very serious growth periods. And you've done a lot in retention. One of the things I love about you and I've loved about working with you in the last few years that we've worked together is you're what I call a business CIO. You're always trying to drive that business forward. You're not just the CIO that's trying to cut costs and find little ways around things. You play the role you got to play, but you're also trying to drive that business forward, and you take responsibility for that, for bringing new things into the company, for helping them understand what technology is and what it can do for them. So talk to me about being a business CIO. How do you think about your role in a company?
Yeah, that's a good question. And by the way, thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate it. I kind of think of the CIO role as really kind of having three hats. The first hat is the innovator. So where the business comes to IT looking to do something new, it's my job to figure out how to implement that new feature, their new capability. So for example, a rewards program, a mobile app with customized IPAs, even a new payment method would also be one of those examples there. So that's one part of the innovator. The other part is researching new technologies that the business can actually take advantage of. So for example, machine learning, AI, and that's where you and I started working together with Distro. So that's the one hat, the innovator. The other hat is, as I call it, the operator. So there's no point in being a good innovator if you can't keep the lights on, right? So making sure critical systems are up and running and working correctly, projects are on time, and you're not having any cost overruns, you're not going over budget. So that's the operator. And then depending on the size of the company, you may also be, as I would call it, the guardian as well, because you've got to protect the house. So, making sure that you protect the crown jewels, your data, or your distributor and customers' data, as well as meeting your compliance obligations with, whether it be PCI, CCPA, those GDPR, etc. So kind of like I say, the three hats, the innovator, the operator, and the guardian.
And that's a really important way to think about it these days, because technology is moving at such a fast pace that executives trying to run a direct selling company, or really any company, don't have the time and energy to kind of learn about all the new things. And the new things are also getting more and more nuanced and more complicated and more kind of out there to sort of try to wrap your head around, especially when you're talking about AI and big data and machine learning and all this kind of stuff. That having someone like you on board can really help build the trust that some of these new tools could actually be effective, and that they don't necessarily have to understand every single thing about it as long as they trust you, right? And that's really
absolutely, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So you've also had a lot of experience with loyalty programs, and talk to us a little bit about a loyalty program. There's a couple of elements to it. I know a lot of companies are trying it these days, mixed success, kind of happening out there. What are some of the things you want to think about if you're putting a loyalty program into place?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the first thing you've got to think about is while it may seem obvious, it's actually surprising how often this doesn't actually get thought of, at least at the start. And that is, what outcome are you actually looking for in the rewards program? So, rewards programs are used to improve the lifetime value of your customers and distributors. And it does that, and they do that through increased order rates, so increased retention, and hopefully an increase in average order size as well. So I think knowing the outcome that from the start is really important. Other things are involving. Other tips I would give would be, for example, involving distributors right from the start. So it's kind of like their program, because once the field are behind it, I think that will be that's a key to success there. I think depending on the company as well, you depending on as you look at retention, depending on the company, there could be a dip, a kind of a sizable dip in retention at somewhere between the third and the fifth order. So ensuring that your rewards program has enough, you've earned enough credits to redeem something worthy, worthwhile by that dip, that will help make a dent in that.
That's a great one, because if you don't, if you think about it, right, if 75% of people never place a fourth order, but you're not building up enough points to do anything until you get to 6 or 7, then what's the point, right?
Yeah, it's good point. Yeah, and a lot of people don't even actually know where their big drops are. It's actually quite surprising as well. Other things is just making sure your credits, your rewards credits, are simple to understand. So for example, if 100 credits, if that's $17.63, that's not the easiest thing, but 100 credits equals $10 and free product. That's easy to understand, easy for your distributors to market.
Yeah, and you talked a little bit about getting the field in line. Tell us about this idea.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like turbocharging your rewards program. If you give your distributors, the sponsor and the upline, access to the rewards data, whether it be the balance or if you have an expiration, like an expiration date, so that they can actually look up and see who's about to lose their rewards credits, then that again could really turbocharge things, because then the upline and sponsor could reach out and make sure that they take advantage of those rewards credits before they expire, and get that additional order out of someone. I think that's really important.
It's funny that you say that, because when Roxana Epps was on here about a month ago or so, a former colleague of yours as well, she was talking about this concept of like, hey, don't be afraid to share information with your field. That a lot of people, a lot of companies want to really hold back any information that could be negative, that could in any way, make a distributor feel like something isn't going well, on their team. And she was saying, in a way, you kind of rob them of the opportunity to make things better by not showing them where that improvement needs to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like I say, I really think that turbocharges the effectiveness of your rewards program, as well as adding kind of that information into your marketing automation, so that if the customer is going to have some expiring credits, that they get notified, and not have to automatically through whether you're using kind of Salesforce Marketing Cloud or some other automation platform as well. And then also actually just making sure that you share that rewards data with other tools that you may have, whether it be Distro, whether it be a mobile app, whether it be easily found in your back office, that kind of thing, also helps as well.
Awesome. Well, speaking of Distro, we worked together on that. You were one of our first few customers to be able to really kind of help develop this platform out together. You helped us take our version 2 platform and kind of evolve it into a version 3. Tell us a little bit about like the experience of working with us, and the decision, to go with us. I know we were a very advanced technology. We still are, but even then, we were still new, and not everyone could kind of wrap their heads around it. What made you decide that you wanted to be the champion of something like this and working with us?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, so I think a lot of my observation is that a lot of people look at they want to know what's underneath the hood, so to speak. They want to know how machine learning works, how AI works, and how it's coming to predictions. But I think ultimately, at the end of the day, Distro is a simple tool in what it does. It's easy to measure as well. So for me, as we were in onboarding, you made it simple. So we were able ahead of time to figure out how accurate the predictions were, and with that, we were able to also easily measure how effective the tool is once it was in our distributors' hands as well. Being notified and being able to tell the difference between people that get a notification that someone was going to churn, and then people that did get notified but didn't do anything. Those were key metrics that we used to see the effectiveness of the tool, and we got as we had a very successful launch and a really good ROI in the tool as well. So yeah, we had a good result and we were thrilled.
Yeah, I remember one of the most shocking things for me was just how quick it was to work with your team. We're usually, saying, hey, we can be live in 60 days. And with you guys, if I recall, it was like 45 and the whole thing was done. And that was partly because you guys were so quick and kind of on it.
Yeah, the integration is really not that hard. It is really just making sure you're giving access to the data that you need. Obviously, the more quality data you have access to, the better the predictions. But no, I think the actual integration is quite straightforward, quite easy. And we, like you say, have 45 days, and then we were already, kind of pilot testing in the field within, 45 days, and then I think we were fully rolled out within 3 months.
Yeah, fully. Yeah, it was great for us at the time too, to be able to go that fast, and partly thanks to working with you guys. So do you have any suggestions for others? We encounter companies a lot where they're looking at us, and some of the execs are kind of excited and feeling really good about what we might be able to do, and some of the others are like, not wanting to show how kind of confused or uncomfortable they are with kind of this level of technology. What kind of suggestions would you have for people that might be looking at trying to figure out how do they automate more retention? How do they make it so that people stay around longer? They don't have a lot of internal resource to do it, and they want to work with someone like us that can kind of handle most of the heavy lifting and just get the results for them. But they might be
Yeah,
feeling trepidatious, you know?
sure, yeah. And just my first thing is just remember it's a simple tool to use. You don't need to know the mechanics of machine learning or anything like that. So just how accurate are the predictions? How effective is the tool? Okay, with those predictions, how effective is the tool? So keeping those two things in mind is key. Second thing is, I think a lot of field leaders like to make sure they see something before the rest of their downline. And so I think when you roll it out into the field, I think you start with whether you have focus groups, diamonds, or whatever your top ranks are, and start with them, make sure they're seeing the tool first, then gradually roll it down your leadership team before rolling it out to everyone at the same time. I think that way your leaders can train their teams on how to use the tool. And then hopefully even have some testimonials about what it's done for their business already. I know that we had that at a company that we worked on together. Also, I think making sure that the wording that gets sent out with the distro app is reviewed by your field, by your distributors. I think that helps. I think
feel really good about it, so they feel like they own it and it's theirs. Yep.
Yeah, it's their message. It's not
Company
so.
language.
Yeah, exactly. There's a kind of unique. Each field has kind of a unique message, don't they? A unique style. Just make sure it's written in their way, I think, is important. And then I think the other thing that I would also say is just to survey your field as well. So whether you use SurveyMonkey or Qualtrics or whatever your tool is, just ping your field as well and see how well what they're liking in the tool. Do they find it effective? How would like to give his team?
It's affecting everybody all the way down. You want to make sure that the newest person all the way up is like feeling like this is a useful tool. Because the one thing that is different about us is that the vast majority of our users are actually not the power users that are the back office people. It's actually the normal people who don't generally use the back office that much and don't have a lot going on. And just getting a lot of those people to do one little more thing, can add up to a lot. Thanks, Gareth. I'm going to go through a quick summary and then we'll summarize what we did today. For those of you who don't know Distro, the quick 2 minutes on it. We use machine learning to predict all different sorts of stuff, to identify all these different kind of destiny moments that could be happening in the life cycle of a rep or a customer, so we can let the right person know that this is an opportunity for them to make a phone call or to send a text message or to hit their person up on WhatsApp. We'll send them a text message letting them know that they need to click on a link. They'll click on that link, opens up on their phone. They know exactly what they need to do. It's very simple, not lots of functionality, just one kind of task at a time. So we can reach everybody with the text message. They don't have to have ever logged into your back office. They don't have to have a username or password with this new platform. And they don't have to download an app. So it's really quick and we can reach lots and lots of people. It's all about measuring. Gareth was talking a lot about metrics and making sure people actually connect with this thing and do it and love it and use it. And it can result in a lot of people, thousands and thousands of people buying a little more, selling a little more, recruiting a little bit more in that life cycle, and sometimes a lot more for some people. So the summary of what we've been through today is business CIOs are innovation stewards. Look to your tech team to know the newest technology, to understand that tech, to really be able to be someone that you can trust when you want to try something new or look at something innovative. When you're doing your loyalty programs, share the status of that thing with your uplines, get them involved, make sure that the upline has actionable things that they can do as a result of those loyalty points so the field can help you. It's kind of like help me help you, help me help you, if you ever saw Jerry Maguire, that movie. And of course, if you're looking for a quick win, we're one of them. We might not be the only thing out there, but we'd love to talk to you. We are now, we offer 100% money back guarantee. So if you are curious at all about what we're doing, you don't even know about this, Gareth, but we now have this. If we don't make you your money back, we'll cut you a check for the difference.
I didn't know about that myself. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then just for fun times, Gareth and I have always had a really good time together. And one of the moments I'll never forget, Gareth, was when you gave me the gift of this wonderful unicorn sweater. I don't think I'd ever wear it.
I spent hours researching.
and then I kept sending you pictures of me at every music festival with your unicorn sweater on. And then of course you, not to be undone, had your own.
Who got the Billy deal out of that? I mean, honestly, look at that. I mean, come on.
I think I did. I mean, there's nothing like a unicorn Christmas sweater to kind of get you feeling the holiday spirit all year.
I've never been so disappointed that you were so happy with that gift like that.
All right, everyone. Well, hey, thank you, Gareth. It's been a pleasure having you today. As always, we have so much fun working together and getting a lot of successes and getting things done. Thank you all for joining us today. And we'll see you on our next webinar. And this will be recorded. So if you have anyone else that you think would like to see it, let us know. We'll get you the recording. Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Gareth. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me on.
Cheers.
Did you stop?